Alright, hello everyone, this is Mr. Crozier. I wanted to give you some help here with the homework without showing you all the answers here, but we're doing page 588, 29 through 39. And the basics of the problem is on every one you're going to create this table with right here, which is a distribution table. And if you look at problem 29 here, it gives us this income bracket, and here's all the different categories. And this first category goes from basically 0 to 20. The middle is 10, and this one goes from 20 to basically 40, and so the midpoint is 30, and so on. And this last one goes from basically 80 to 100. The midpoint is 90. So we took this table, we kind of simplified it down to say this is the middle, 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 middle. And then what we did is we counted the frequencies here, and we took this and found the percent, and the percent right here is 240 out of 1,000. So 240 out of 1,000 is this decimal, and this goes all the way down. So basically you're just doing this table, taking the data, sorting it out into the categories. And one thing you always want to check here is you want to always check on each problem down here that you have the right percentages, because these percentages right here should add up. If I'm adding them all up correctly, this bottom row, it should always equal 1, and right there it is. So you always want to make sure that that bottom row equals 1, because that's all of the categories, and all of the categories should equal up to one whole. So there's a distribution. On some of the problems they asked you to make a histogram, so I broke this data up and put the categories and the amounts and did the totals. Write the percents at the top. And then the question it asks is, what's the probability that the amount of income, and that's what we said X is greater than 5,000. And greater than 5,000, or 50,000, sorry, 50,000, not 5,000, is these two boxes right here. And that is 0.17, 0.12, 0.29, or 29%. So that's the basics. On problem 30, you do the same thing. Find the income categories, divide it up, make a histogram. Take a look at 31. They give you a different set of data. It's about ages of residents of Mexico. And find the midpoint of each one. Find the amount in each one. Find the percent. You don't have to make a histogram. It didn't ask for a histogram. It didn't even ask you a question. It just asked you to make this just distribution. And again, add these up. Make sure they equal 1. I want to show you one of the larger problems. If you look down here at problem 35, it gives you this graph right here, and there's a lot of data in here. There's a lot of numbers to pick out. Each one of these bars is a different day, and each one of these bars goes down to a different number. So we have like a negative 200, negative 400, negative 500, negative 200, negative 700, positive. So this is how the stock market changed. Sometimes the stock market went down, sometimes it went up and down. So we want to take it, make a table out of it. If you take a look at how I did mine, I thought it was better here to make it up and down, and here's all my changes. 900 is the most, negative 700 is the least, and there's all the changes. And what I did, instead of putting the frequency, I just did tally marks here. There was 2 in here, and 2 there, and 4 there, and 4 there, on and on. Some of them had nothing, and then I just calculated these, and this is 2 divided by 20, which is 0.1. This is 2 divided by 20 because there's 20 days. And that's all you're doing. Then it asks you what's the probability that they lost more than 250. Well, that's this line here, and it's all of this data. So all of these right here would add up to 0.3 for a probability. So sometimes it's easier to make your table side to side. Sometimes it's up and down is better. Here's a different one for GPA. You can check this in the back of the book, but there's my GPA, there's my midpoints, there's my amount, and there's my frequency and my percentage. So just make sure you have these 3 columns. I put an extra one here because I did the category then the midpoint separately. But you're basically having these 3 categories: the categories, the frequencies, and the percents. Categories, frequencies, percent, and that gives you your distribution table. Alright, hope this helps with your homework. Check the odds in the back of the book and do your best on the evens.